This VR headset confused me. Well, at first. This is the Pimax Crystal Super, and I've been anxious about using this thing because of all the horror stories I've heard. But man, Pimax sent me this headset a few weeks ago, and I have to tell you guys that I really think the Crystal Super has crazy, and I mean crazy potential. Like, serious potential. I'm already doing VR, and buckle up because we're about to dive deep into my first impressions with the Pimax Crystal Super after a few weeks. But before we do that though, this video is sponsored by VR Rock. They sent me prescription lenses for the Crystal Super and I absolutely love them. I've always used VR Rock for all my VR headsets and they never disappoint. Easy overseas shipping, affordable prices, you literally can't go wrong with that. Use code MarioDudeVR for 10% off. Help me help you save some money, man. Alrighty, let's address the elephant in the room first. This thing is heavy. And I mean heavy. It needs those studio form comfort mods really bad. This headset honestly does feel heavier than the Crystal Light and gets even heavier when you add the studio form counterbalance weights. But here is the thing. Sometimes you kind of have to suffer for greatness, and this headset might just be worth it for some and maybe too much for others. Now, personally for me, obviously I'm a decently built guy. The weight doesn't bother me too much. But for somebody who is more sensitive to things like that, then you might have an issue. Now let's talk specs because holy guacamole, these numbers are impressive. And at a whopping $1,800 for this VR headset, ooh, they better be. Yeah, this headset is a pretty little penny. That's why I really am going in depth for this breakdown. First up, the resolution, 3840 by 3840 per eye. You really feel this when using the headset. This headset is an absolute beast to run. It makes my 4090 PC build really, and I mean really work. Ever since I got my 4090, I never really felt the need to get a 50 series card, especially with my other VR headsets and the flat games I play, but damn. You're definitely gonna need to upgrade to a 50 series card to get better performance on this thing. And I don't even know if you can even max it out all the way on a 50 series card and get decent frames. In terms of display, we're talking QLED with mini LED and local dim. It actually looks really great and can compete with some micro OLED VR headsets in this price range. Night scenes in games like Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 or Elite Dangerous, even No Man's Sky, they look fantastic and really sell this headset in terms of visuals, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. The only bad thing about the display is the slight chromatic aberration and mirror. Not deal breakers, but it can definitely hamper the experience if you're expecting that pure micro OLED quality. If you've used a PSVR 2 before, you've seen mirror before, and personally, I don't get bothered by it. The mirror is way lighter than the PSVR 2s though, and you only notice it really in flight sims where you're looking at the sky. And even then, it doesn't ruin the experience, at least for me. Now, some people are really sensitive to chromatic aberration and hate it. So if you're a person who's really sensitive to it, then I don't know if you would like this headset. Like I said before, it doesn't bother me, but I do want to mention it for you guys. The lenses are glass aspheric with a very large sweet spot, and they're not lying about that on their promo and marketing. It's definitely a really nice sweet spot for the lenses. It definitely rivals the Crystal Light and keeps up the trend of high visual viewing that Pimax headsets usually offer. It's also pretty crazy how good the binocular overlap is too. But with that being said, let's deep dive on those lenses. Those aspheric lenses are going to be different for a lot of you guys who have never used them. Personally, they don't bother me, but some users just can't get past the slight and very potential warping that comes with aspheric lenses. They're not like MetaQuest 3 lenses where it's just a very flat pancake lens. They hit the eyeball a bit differently. It may take some getting used to, and you've been warned. Other than that though, we're talking 50 ppd or pixels per degree. That means way less chance of screen door effect and makes it easier to see fine details in games. The Crystal Super also has a refresh rate of 72 Hz or 90 Hz, which is perfect for this headset. One thing that must be noted is that this headset has an interchangeable optical system with ultra wide 57 ppd and micro OLED optical engines coming soon. I love the idea of being able to change out my lenses and display for a VR headset. I genuinely hope more VR headsets do this in the future because that's some serious future proofing in terms of upgrading your VR headset. And it will probably decrease the amount of VR headsets that Pimax have to put out per year to keep up. Hopefully though, we get more updates on timelines for releases of the other optical engines. Field of view also hits pretty good too. It officially says 127 degrees horizontal on their site, but with the stock face gasket, I get 106 degrees vertical and 114 degrees horizontal, which isn't bad. It is less than my PSVR 2, but more than my Quest 3, and beats the Play for Dream MR and Meganex VR headsets. There's also a large FOV mode you can enable in the Pimax Play settings, and it actually gives you extra FOV. In large FOV lab mode, I get 106 degrees vertical and a whopping 126 degrees horizontal, which is closer to the listed FOV on the website. One thing about lab mode though is that it makes my eyes feel a little cross-eyed, so definitely needs a little bit of work. And make sure you restart your headset and the software to make sure it updates right. But it is awesome they managed to do that in software to expand FOV. That's some serious real estate for your eyeballs. Eye tracking and foveated rendering are available and can be used in games like Microsoft Flight Sim and DCS World to get some extra frames. And trust me, you're definitely gonna need all the extra frames you can get dealing with this resolution. You can also enable eye tracking in the Pimax Play software app, which we'll discuss later. And tagging along to that, IPD adjustment is automatic using Pimax Play, ranges from 58mm to 72mm, so most people are definitely covered by that. But with all that being said, here's where things get rough. The Crystal Super Lighthouse faceplate isn't available yet for using Valve Index controllers. It is absolutely needed because the slam tracking is absolutely terrible. And it's honestly to the point where I wouldn't use this headset for anything but flight or racing sims or anything space related for that reason. I'm really hoping Pimax improves this over time, because if you're not gonna have good slam tracking, it definitely will make people avoid this VR headset. I did try using the Crystal Super for No Man's Sky, but man, the biggest enemy wasn't space pirates or the Eldritch horrors on certain planets or the environments. It was trying to point at stuff with my slam controllers. It's just no bueno at all. Hopefully Pimax gets that sorted out sooner rather than later. Now the official site does say it's compatible with different faceplates, but I guess we won't be getting that for a while unless they have an announcement pretty soon. In terms of audio, the D-Max headphones are optional. You can get them for free with certain Pimax promotions. Personally, I think they're way better, and I mean way better than the stock audio, but they're super inconsistent. My left one gets loose constantly and I don't feel like the quality is good enough for the headache. I say just take them off and wear your own solution. Definitely not worth the $100 in my opinion, unless you really just want a onboard audio solution. In terms of mic quality, I like to kind of do my mic quality live from now on. So here's a clip from my stream where you can hear the mic in its peaks or if it's good or not.
Don't pass out. Don't pass out. Oh, he passed out. He passed out. My fault, guy. Put so many G's on his chest.
One quick aside before we get into the gaming experience, I do have to tell you guys that Pimax is having a very special deal where you can trade in old VR headsets for a special discount. Now, you do not have to send your VR headset in. I repeat, you do not have to send your VR headset in. All you gotta do is show proof of purchase. So if you have extra VR headsets laying around, this is a really good deal and a great chance to get a discount. All you gotta do is submit this form on the screen, they confirm the purchase, and boom, you get a discount code for the Crystal Super or Crystal Light. Shout out to Pimax, and if you liked my review and want to purchase, then I also have a discount code below with the link if you want to support the channel. The Pimax Crystal Super is the first wired VR headset I've ever done flight sim on. At first, and I'll be honest, I didn't really like it. It felt underwhelming, and not gonna lie, I was worried for this mini review. It just wasn't as high resolution on the Play for Dream MR or as neat looking as my Meganex Super Light 8K. I also had this weird tracking bug that would happen where my headset's tracking would go haywire, and I get this really weird delay and drag when turning my head. I'm doing it again. Okay. Yeah, I'm about to figure that out. Yeah, we're going into the ground, baby. Oh, we just, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I give up. I don't know. I'm about to figure it out. Verdict right now for like just the Pimax thing. It sucks cause like it works. It's perfect. It works. That's the main purpose of this. I genuinely just don't get how people got this to work. I'm about to actually like heavy research it, then come back and stream it. Cause right now this It's like infuriating. I can't even focus on it because it keeps messing up. So it ended up costing me a stream or two with debugging, and actually introduced me to Pimax XR Toolkit and actually understanding why people use OpenXR versus Steam VR. Never really had to choose before. The performance boost is quite nice, I gotta say. Shout out to my guy VirtueSim, who taught me all about that stuff in my streams. Shout out to you, man. To fix my issues though, I had to go through Pimax support, which was an okay experience, but then an update dropped that really fixed it for the Pimax Play app, and it changed quite literally everything. Now, I know that sounds cliche and like a VR YouTuber thumbnail, but I could actually use the headset again and play games like No Man's Sky VR or Flight Sim properly. The new update did include GPU upscaling features, quad view customizations, and a bunch of other stuff the Super desperately, and I mean desperately, needed for a clean experience. Having that GPU upscaling really changed the game though. I could actually boost up the quality and sharpness and get the Crystal Super experience I've heard about from YouTubers and Redditors, a real $1,800 experience at that. In terms of upscaling, you can choose FSR or NIS upscaling, or you can choose to boost sharpness if you have a really beefy card. But as somebody with a 4090, I needed all the extra power I could get. Now, FPS VR does, however, work wonky with it and causes issues as of recording this. So if you have a Crystal Super and you're having issues, make sure FPS VR is turned off. But with that being said, I wasn't able to get frame counts to show you guys on screen, but I went from 30 frames a second on some games to 40s and 50s with the settings I got from Omni whatever on Reddit and YouTube for Microsoft Flight Sim. Shout out my guy Omni whatever, because he helps me a lot, and I mean a lot, with managing the Pimax ecosystem, because I'm honestly new to it, and that dude helped me figure out so much stuff. So shout out to you, man. And speaking of the ecosystem, let's talk more about that software though. At first, for using the Crystal Super, I wasn't as happy with the software as I was with the Crystal Lite. Just being honest. Poor controller and headset tracking really turned me off, but I must say that the newer updates have changed everything like I said before. Being able to set image quality, which I usually hovered in the 0.70 range with my 4090, is pretty nice. Having quad views and other options to set per game is a needed experience I wish I can get with other VR headsets, especially as somebody that changes games around a lot. Something else really neat but not important in the grand scheme of things is being able to change the front LED light. I like little things like that, I'm not gonna lie. And one thing I do want to tell you guys, if you're coming from a Crystal Lite and going to a Crystal Super, make sure to fully, and I mean fully, wipe and reinstall the Pimax Play software, delete everything, start anew, because sometimes files can get left over, and just coming from a Crystal Lite to a Crystal Super can cause some bugs and issues. So make sure you wipe everything, start over. Now, before we get into my final thoughts, I do have, well, a confession. My name is Mardu VR, and I'm addicted to Flight Sim now. This headset inspired me to try so many flight sims over the past few weeks. Using the Play for Dream MR, I had tried Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, but with the Crystal, I actually branched out. I played Elite Dangerous, No Man's Sky, DCS World, which went terribly, War Thunder, Project Wingman, and even VTOL VR, which I had tried years ago, but I was honestly too small brain to figure it out, but now I actually figured it out. Every game I tried showed me that the Super can genuinely handle all sims you throw at it, especially those that support foveated rendering or quad views like Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 or DCS World. I crashed a lot of planes over the last few weeks, and man, I had a blast.
Shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh damn. Oh damn. Oh damn. So that speed down, girl. Yep, coming in hot. 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 Ooh. Eee.
Apply the brakes and stop the plane.
I'm definitely gonna do a separate video covering my experience in detail, but Flight Sim is so peaceful and just really fun. Life is very stressful, man, I gotta say, but hopping into a jet or a Cessna and just enjoying a beautiful virtual environment just hits, and is very therapeutic. Driving around space and Elite Dangerous and No Man's Sky with all that FOV and color is just awesome. It's definitely a change up from my usual gaming habits like Contractors or Blade and Sorcery or anything else I might play. I even ended up getting a flight stick and a throttle with a mount. for my desk because I want that next level flying experience. And man, I got it. It's amazing. I must say though, these things are mad expensive. Like these were very expensive controllers. I went the eBay route. Just save a little bit of money. I ended up doing time trials on stream, Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, and I cannot go back to controller or keyboard for Flight Sim. Hell no. Flight stick for life, baby. I just need to remember all the button keybinds. There's a lot of button keybinds, man. And honestly, we should talk about that. But moving on. Overall, for gaming though, I genuinely see how the Crystal Super fits the need for a lot of flight simmers and race simmers. As somebody who was anxious about the experience, didn't know what to expect, I enjoy it. I like the headset. Only thing is, I wish it had that micro OLED display available to consumers, man. I really want to try it because I feel like micro OLED would push this headset to the next level. There's a lot of potential here, but it does need some work. Pimax can definitely do it for sure, because the Crystal Light is in a great spot right now, especially with it being one of the last headsets I reviewed. I gotta say, I have faith they can do it. This headset as of right now feels like a project car. You know, like a project car sitting in your garage, tons of potential, needs some love, but when it's running right, man, it's something special. If you're a flight sim or racing sim enthusiast with a beefy PC, don't mind a few quirks, the Crystal Super might be an in-game VR headset if you don't mind the weight and you don't mind the price. All right, guys, that's my take on the Pimax Crystal Super. You guys know I do a first impressions, I do a 1 month review, then I do a 3 month review. I'm gonna follow up with this headset a lot. And I'm gonna do specific videos on different flight sims to see how the performance is for that headset with those sims. So definitely drop a comment below. How are you feeling about the Crystal Super? Do you like it? If you have one, talk about your experience below. If this review helped you out, smash the like button, subscribe, man. We're pushing hard towards the next milestone of 20,000 subs, and every one of you legends definitely matter. Till next time, it's people Mark do VR, and remember, man, I'm just a dude with a VR headset. Peace.